Welcome back to Blake's Craft Beer Podcast. My name is Blake Waffo. I'm back here. Well, no, actually, this is the first time I'm ever in Powell, Ohio for this podcast.
This is your first time here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, not first time here, but the first time the podcast has ever been north of Columbus.
North of 270? All right,
yes.
cool.
So,
we'll happy to partner with you on that.
Yes. I'm excited to have this person on. She's awesome. What I've heard from you about her, and please introduce yourself and tell me where we're at today.
Yeah. Well, Blake, thanks for coming out to do the podcast. My name is Lori Duncan. I'm one of the founders of Nocterra Brewing Company. We opened our doors to the public in 2019 here in Powell, Ohio. We're just a couple miles down the road from the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, and we're in this really lovely, walkable, historic pedestrian downtown that is Powell. We've got some great neighbors in the community, both from the consumer standpoint and local business, and it's a great place for our band, for the home base of Nocterra Brewing Company.
No, this is like maybe my third time here. I've always enjoyed, but
yeah,
you also do each year Ale-Matic's anniversary is you guys make a beer together because you guys opened on the same day, which I think that's one of the cool things.
Yeah,
you guys do, and you guys always make a very good collaboration beer together and stuff like that. Thank you, Mike Major, for helping me get in touch with her.
Yeah, Mike and Jared are good dudes down there, and my husband Brian and I were actually from the Dayton area originally, and so very familiar with Huber Heights and where those guys are running their whole operation out of. And us, Ale-Matic, we opened on the same day, February 2nd, 2019. And as our year one anniversary is coming around, we just sort of built a collaborative project to celebrate both businesses. And it's led to an annual tradition and a real true friendship with those guys at Ale-Matic. So that's one of the things that's super, super special and super unique about our industry is the level of collaboration and friendship that we all, kind of experience with each other in the market.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. That's just what I love about craft beer is the fact that people are willing to sit down with you and just talk about craft beer and their products and stuff like that. So how do you get into craft beer to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, probably a similar interest that gets a lot of people into craft beer. We attached to a product that we liked, and we're having a hard time consistently finding it around our home grocery stores. And my husband's background is in microbiology, and we started looking into home brewing as a way to make some fun, creative recipes, and the hobby just kind of really took off and got away from us. I mentioned that Brian and I are two of the founders. We have a partner in the business as well, Bruce. And Brian and Bruce just really connected from day one. Similar brewing style, similar flavor profile, similar interest. And so they kind of teamed up on the recipe creation, the production side of the business, and brewed the portfolio of beers that represent, our core lineup today. And then a lot of the fun spinoffs that have come from that as well. My background is in corporate retail, so product development, and just kind of applied a little bit of a brand lens to the brewery that we have here. And when we decided that we were going to divest from our 9-to-5 corporate careers and really make a go at the brewery, we wanted to do it the right way, and we wanted to launch something into the market that felt a little bit different than the other brewery experiences that were in the area. And so we really got behind the authentic branding of this beer plus outside idea. We all come from some sort of background in the outdoors. I was a whitewater raft guide and worked in the ski and snowboard industry. My husband as well, in addition to being an Eagle Scout. Our partner Bruce is an Eagle Scout and a skydiver and a base jumper. And, this whole concept of getting outside and having an experience and coming back and telling a story at the end of the day, and sharing a beer with your friends. It's just this authentic connection point that we've really tried to build into the brand.
Because one of my favorite things about you guys is your outdoor patio is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such an asset to our business. And when the weather is warm, when it's nice, like every spring, that first spring Saturday that pops off with 70 degrees and sunshine, we just know it's going to be packed out there. And it gives our tap room that feel that you might get if you were at a brewery out west or in the Appalachian Mountains or some of these outdoor destinations that people seek out, that are really intertwined with craft beer. And that's a little bit of what we wanted to bring here to Powell, Ohio.
And it had to help you guys a little bit when 2020 rolled through. That when we reopened, you had that space out back where you could open a little more than most.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been an advantage to our business in a number of ways. And when the initial round of COVID restrictions were lifted, we worked really hard to put a controlled process in place so that customers that were venturing out for potentially the first time since lockdown felt like we were considerate and thoughtful in how we were reintegrating them into our space. It's a big open air environment. And so once people were seated at their table and their masks came off, you could just see this like physical letdown where it felt like a little return to normalcy. And it felt like the right environment to do it in. So yeah, we lean heavily into our patio and try to, it's one of our best features here at the brewery.
So we have an awesome flight in front of us today. Where do you want to start?
Well, why don't we begin at the beginning? So the first one that I have, it's going to be on your left there. Okay. This is our core flagship IPA. For us, it's called Beta Flash.
Okay.
The name of this, and most of our beers, I do have one in here that totally breaks our naming conventions, but most of our beers follow a naming convention that aligns with something in the outdoor industries. So Beta Flash can trace the naming roots back to the climbing industry. When you're climbing a route, beta is the information, kind of like the how-to execute a climb. To flash a climb means that you successfully complete a route on your first attempt. And we just kind of took the two words and mashed them together. This is a juicy, hazy, marmalade-y, citrus-forward IPA. That we wanted to introduce this style to our Columbus Midwest consumers in a Midwest format. So this beer, most people that are craft beer enthusiasts, so you'll see this type of a beer in like a 4-pack, like a 16-ounce 4-pack, maybe from some of your East Coast breweries. We rolled it out in the market as a $13.99 6-pack. And so, it's $1 or so more expensive than your standard IPA, but it's still a good value product for this category. And you can show up at a party or a cookout with a 6-pack and not be that guy that shows up with a 4-pack for himself. But this is just this beer. It's our volume driver. It is so well received. And if you come into it thinking that you don't like IPAs because maybe your palate doesn't lean towards like piney resinous, this beer will really surprise you because it is so juicy and citrus forward.
Cheers.
Yeah, likewise.
Oh yeah. That's so nice.
Yeah, and it's easy drinking. This product category has so much. The hazy IPA, there's so much variety and so much opportunity to play around in this category. And Beta Flash is meant to hit all the high notes, but it's a really easy introduction to an IPA, for somebody who may not think that they're an IPA drinker.
So was this one of the first beers you guys rolled out when you guys opened?
It was. This is one of the beers that was on our opening menu. Our control over the haze in the beer wasn't quite where we needed it yet. And we've learned since then, I think we're probably on our 75th, 80th iteration of just minor tweaks to this recipe over the years. But yeah, this is one that Brian, my husband, Brian, and I made at home in our garage, in our basement, as part of our homebrew portfolio, and really put a lot of effort into developing this recipe as one of our core beers when we opened in 2019. And so, it's stuck around, and it's our volume driver.
So when you go take a beer from your homebrew to, obviously you're excited to bring it to the masses, but is there like concerns and? Because I'm assuming you had to step up a little bit, like the amount of grains and hops that had to go in or what is always about the same?
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that change when you scale. Your ratios can change a little bit, and so just having the opportunity to brew this beer over and over again, make some tweaks, make some adjustments to it. We're really happy with where this product started, and we're really, really happy with where this product is today. One of the bigger changes for Nocterra is that as we've grown and our volumes have grown, we've gotten access in 2025 is the first year that we actually were able to do lot selection on our hops, as opposed to buying kind of a commodity blend that's for the entire market. So starting to do lot selections on our hops from our hop partner this year allowed us to really zero in on the flavors that we want this beer to represent, and really zero in on the specific lot varieties of these hops that really push those flavors to the forefront.
No, I think it's very well balanced. It's not overly fruited or stuff like that. It's like nice, easy. I love my hazies, but some are just like...
Some of them can be a little on the chewy side, and if that's what you want, then that's great. There's
everyone
plenty
has their own.
Yeah, that's not this one. This one, it's just light, it's drinkable, and you'll notice that even as we go through our flight, drinkability is a phrase that we use around here a lot. And so it's just our style for Nocterra. Our belief is like, if you like one of our beers, we want you to be able to have two of our beers. And so we put a lot of focus on like clean, crisp finishes, which may kind of break some of the brand styles that you might see out there. Like a lot of those like heavier stouts or porters, or, your bigger beers that kind of like kind of stick around on the palate a little bit. We intentionally try to like clean up that finish and make it dry, and so you're ready to go back for another sip.
So when you guys opened up in 19, was this the first brewery around here to open, or?
No, we were fortunate to join some great neighbors here in Powell, Ill Mannered, our friends right down the street, and throughout our build out, development, everything here in the physical space, frequent conversations with those guys. They were stopping in, and rising tide raises all ships. And I think both breweries have benefited from having a nearby neighbor, because it does make Powell a bit of a destination. Our consumers from the downtown that maybe want to take a little day trip, well, now they can hit Ill Mannered, and they can hit Nocterra in the same trip. And I think that we've both benefited from being neighbors and having a good relationship here in Powell. You can almost throw a rock from Nocterra Brewing Co. and hit Ill Mannered and vice versa. But and they've got a great portfolio. It's like both brands complement each other. Our core lineup looks a little bit different than their core lineup, but really solid guys over there.
That has to be cool to have like that good communication and easy. Probably if they have a question, they come to you, or if they hit, or vice versa.
Absolutely. And breweries are small businesses. Small business is tough. You don't have the depth and the redundancy in your head count and in your systems necessarily all the time that larger organizations do. And so even as simple as somebody going, hey, we need a bucket of ice and our ice machine is at its limit. Can I come grab one? Or, hey, we just blew through our nitrogen and our replenishment isn't until the next day. Is it cool if we swap, nitrogen keg, or, that kind of stuff? It's nice to have neighbors.
So when you guys first opened, what was it like in the opening day, Nocterra?
Yeah, opening day here was crazy. We had no idea what to expect. And when we put our heads together to start building a business plan for Nocterra, we really put our focus into the distribution aspect of it. From day one, we wanted to open a brewery with the intention of going to market, going to retail, going to grocery. That's not always a part of a microbrewery's plan. But for us, it was just something that we identified as important to our brand and to growth. So we opened with a canning line, thankfully, because this was pre-COVID. And the one part of the business that we just really didn't know what to prepare for or what to expect was the tap room. And early days when we opened, for the first 5 years of our business, the gentleman who is managing like our marketing and our social media and our PR and everything, he came from a background of video production, and he just really connected with the audience here in an authentic way. And he drummed up so much passion for this brand before we even opened our doors. And yeah, that first Saturday, that first Sunday that we were open, we had a line of customers from our bar that went out into the beer garden in February. We were blown away. We were absolutely blown away.
That's why I laugh about you guys in Illmatic. You pick winner. Kidding. That's a joke, but.
I can tell you that nobody brewery like really picks the date they open. It always comes down to, oh shit, let's get this place open. How fast can we do it?
Right. So I find it interesting. You said you wanted to go into distro at the very jump, where some wants to wait and see, and there are some that will never say they don't want to step forward because distro is so hard.
It's
nowadays.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. Yeah. And so we really did want that to be a part of our portfolio. We view that as the infinite multiplier, and the taproom spaces that we operate, they're the beating heart of our business. But how do you connect with your consumers? How do you keep that emotional connection alive? For somebody who might only come see you once a year or twice a year. We'd still like to have those touch points with our customers. And so being able to find our product on draft and in the grocery store was just what we viewed as longevity for our brand. We are self-distributed in the Columbus market, just based on some of the movements and ebbs and flows. I believe we're currently the largest self-distributed brand in Central Ohio. Rhinegeist having just retracted their self-distribution from Central Ohio. Their Columbus portfolio is now managed by Superior Beverage Group. But for us, we are self-distributed. We've invested in the systems and the staff and the talent that allows us to do that, because it is that important to us to keep control of our brand and manage the relationships that we have with our accounts, and partnerships are where we really thrive. And so we've invested everything that we have to grow that sustainably.
And that makes me feel better because, I feel like the people that self-distribute has more control versus you go to a big conglomerate distribution where I see like many breweries are hurting because they don't.
Yeah, it's tough. When you sign on with the distributor, you get instant access to all the accounts that they have in their portfolio. But if your product is not the right fit for those accounts, you're competing in a portfolio of multiple brands. And these days, our local distributors are representing some really great national brands. I cannot compete with or incentivize a sales staff the way that New Belgium Brewing Company does, or the way that Bell's Brewing does. And so the way that we need to engage with our accounts, and the way that we need to differentiate and stand out, really comes down to the personal touch, the personal relationship, the agility. They see the way that our team manages their needs in the field. And hey, I just blew a keg. It's Saturday, dinner service. We're getting crushed. Cool. We'll have somebody over there in an hour. We'll get you replenished. We're nimble and we're agile, and we put our customers first. And it's just an advantage, but it takes a lot of work to do that.
All right, let's get into the next one.
Yeah. So you'll hear me talk about partnerships a couple of times probably in this podcast. Partnerships are really central and really important to our business. And so the next one we're going to taste, this is a product called Take a Hike. Take a Hike has been a brand for Nocterra for at least 5 years, but we've done multiple iterations of what this brand is and how it exists in our portfolio. And we're really, really thrilled with where we've landed here in 2025. So Take a Hike. This is a West Coast style IPA. It is in partnership with the Ohio State Parks Foundation. and it is the flagship beer at all of your Great Ohio Lodges. So this beer is on draft in Hocking Hills, at Maumee Bay, at Mohican State Park, and any of the Great Ohio Lodges throughout the state of Ohio.
That's very cool.
Yeah. We also have it on draft at Rusty Bucket. We have a handful of other accounts that carry this. And for every keg that is sold into the market, Nocterra donates $10 back to the Ohio State Parks Foundation. The state of Ohio is one of the only states in the nation that doesn't charge an annual membership to visit their state parks. So if you've ever gone to Michigan or some of these other places and you want to go see the dunes, or you want to, get access, you're paying a day pass at a gate, or you're paying an annual membership. So you get the little hang tag that goes in your car. And Ohio has some wonderful wild spaces, and they're all free to everybody. And the Ohio State Parks Foundation, the good work that they do, is a key component in keeping access to these wild spaces free to everybody. So we're really thrilled to partner with them and have this beer represent not just a great, easy drinking West Coast style IPA, but a real valuable entity in the state of Ohio that aligns with our brand and our Beer Plus Outside motto. So yeah,
Cheers.
Take a hike. Likewise.
I like it. So how did they reach out to you, or is that something that you were like, no, can we help with this, or
right?
How did that come out?
Yeah, so Take a Hike has been a beer for us for years. Like I said, when we initially rolled it out, we rolled out a model where every month we had a different local nonprofit, and so we built the program to be hyper local, small, and there'd be $1 per draft that we would accumulate and then cut a check to that local nonprofit once a month. And it built great partnerships, great relationships. Some of those still live on in the Take a Hike program today. But each month we would also use it as a testing ground. So we would change the recipe of Take a Hike. Take a Hike was the brand, but one month it might be a pumpkin ale. One month it might be a pale ale. One month it might be a peanut butter porter or something, we used it to test out new recipes. And then a handful of years ago, we landed on a singular style and just really identified, we want this program to highlight our partnerships more than we want it to highlight the ever-changing beer. We're trying to tell too many stories with this program. So we zeroed in on a singular style, which at that time was a pale ale. And we partnered with a local retailer called Public Lands, and Public Lands then matched our donation back to the nonprofits dollar for dollar. Public Lands had some retraction from the market, and so we knew that partnership was going to expire. And at the same time, we got a reach out from a guy named Andy Chow, who's a communications director for ODNR and Ohio State Parks. They are looking for a creative way to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the state parks, and they wanted to chat about maybe doing a commemorative beer, kind of like a little one-off program. And after engaging with the state parks team and ODNR and the Ohio State Parks Foundation team, there was really just great synergy behind the mission of our brand and the mission of the parks. And we kind of rolled it into the current iteration of Take a Hike, which is an evergreen partnership that highlights and showcases Ohio State Parks, the foundation, and some of the nonprofit partners that exist in that space that benefit from the program as well.
So did they help design the beer, or did you already have the beer designed and you just say, hey, this is what we have, or did they have any input into it?
So it was really a collaborative effort, understanding that they wanted this to be on draft in all of their lodge locations. We study data, market data, and for an organization to give us an opportunity to put a flagship on in their retail spaces across the state of Ohio, we wanted to make sure that was a good representation of craft beer. 42% of the market is IPA. In the entire, in the entire craft beer portfolio, 42 to 45% of the market remains IPA. That's what your craft beer drinker is looking for, especially when they're not in a brewery.
Right.
So when I go to a brewery, I want to try the craft lager. I want to try the stout. I want to try this, that, and the other. if I'm out at a restaurant, if I'm off premise somewhere, an IPA is usually what I'm going for.
Right.
So we wanted to brew them an easy drinking West Coast style IPA, something that was representative of kind of your general craft beer consumer, but crisp, light. I mean, this thing is so clear. It's so delicious. It's just easy to come back to.
Yes. It's not overly bitter. It's not piney.
No. And it has those bitter notes. It has that malty backbone. It has a little bit of like the citrus to it. It's just a great all around West Coast style IPA. And so it really was a partnership with them to understand their retail spaces, understand the goal of the program, and then put something out there to their consumers and our consumers. That was a home run.
Because one thing that really has me excited right now in craft is like this revergence of West Coast IPAs, but they're drinkable West Coast IPAs. I mean, nothing gets hazies and all, but sometimes I just want something not something totally bitter, but just enough to have a little bite to it. It just takes me back to when I first got in the craft. I mean, Two Hearted, and
everything ebbs and flows, but the West Coast IPA it still commands so much of the market, and you need to pay attention to those things.
Yeah.
And my favorite IPA, well, I have two. If we're not talking Nocterra, and I love our beers, but I'm not shy about saying who else I love. Two Hearted is probably my top IPA, and then CBC IPA is like right up there with it. I love those. Now both of those, I think they have a slightly different malt profile than what this Take a Hike has. This one's definitely like lighter. It doesn't have as much caramel malt to it, so it is a little bit on the lighter, like kind of crisper side. But West Coast IPA is it's such a great category, and I think a lot of us went through a phase maybe when we discovered craft beer where you like it. Maybe it's Sierra Nevada Pale Ale that's your introduction, or what's the hook?
It's one of them. I mean,
what's the hook that gets you into it? And then you start exploring the category, and then it's more and more and more and more and more. And I remember being the hophead where I only ordered by IBUs, and I was like, all right, what's the most potent, heaviest IPA that I can drink? And I'm just going to drink it to prove I can drink it. And now I'm like, what do I like to drink? Something that's sessionable and light and easy to go back to. And this IPA hits all those notes.
Trust me, if I ever get out to California, piney elder is definitely one on my radar.
It's a phenomenal, phenomenal beer.
No, but coming back to this, but it's just something I could also watch football with. It's something that
correct.
I really like it.
Yeah, and we really consider the environment that we put our beer into, and what are your customers at Great Ohio Lodges doing?
I didn't know people drink at lodges. So.
They have restaurants, they have bars, they have the whole thing. Like the lodges that are affiliated with our state parks are just really beautiful facilities, beautiful locations. I mean, highly recommend if you need a weekend trip or some way to get out. They're just these great spaces, but your guests who are there, maybe they're there with their family, maybe they're there with a group of friends, maybe they're out and about hiking around in the park. They don't want to come back to the lodge and drink a 13% wee heavy.
I could do it. I just won't be going back out to
exactly. So whenever we approach these partnerships, we really do try to consider what's the end use, who's the consumer, what's the purpose, and let's build something that hits ticks all those boxes.
Yeah, no, like I said. Speaking of let's get into your lager too while we're talking about
drinkability.
And stuff like that. So tell me about your lager as well.
So we have a family of lagers. We love them all. We do a Mexican lager in the spring. We do a fest beer. For us, we call it Noctoberfest, a clever play on Oktoberfest. We love it. Even our Baltic Porter is a lager. We lean heavily into the lager family. The next one coming up after this, the Dan, it's a Munich Dunkel. It's fermented with lager yeast. We love lagers around here. This is called Classic Nocterra, and it is just our take on your macro style light lager. It's 4.2%. I mean, look at this guy. It is crystal clear. Light, crisp, easy to drink. And lagers, this one we're particularly proud of, because one of the things that we've always invested heavily in is our QA, QC processes. Like I mentioned, my husband's a microbiologist, a member of our staff. He's also a microbiome background with a specialization in genetics. The testing that we're implementing in our back of house as our liquid is moving from the boil kettle to the fermentation tanks to the packaging line. We're babysitting and keeping a close eye on this product. We're running PCR panels on the product several times throughout its development, to scan for and evaluate, if there are any wild yeast or bacteria strains or anything that might lead to off flavors or spoilage or diacetyl or this, that, or the other. And brewing a light lager that is this clean and this drinkable with no off flavors is really a challenge for a brewery our size, operating on the type of equipment that we're operating on.
I should ask this earlier. Because when you first look at the outside, but you walk in, you see how big your tanks. What is your barrel size?
So we're running on a 15-barrel brew house. We're running with 15-barrel fermenters and 30-barrel fermenters. We are producing about 4,000 barrels of beer in about 2,000 square foot of real estate.
Is that how you guys started too?
We started with 5 15-barrel fermenters, and over our first 3 years, we added 5 30-barrel fermenters, which more than tripled our total capacity. Based on 2024 reported numbers, now keep in mind these are only craft breweries that report, so there are probably some that maybe don't report that are either more or less than us or same size. But in 2024, by volume, Nocterra was the 10th largest craft beer producer in the state of Ohio, out of 442 reporting breweries. In Central Ohio, we're the 5th largest. What differentiates us is that we're doing that volume in about 2,000 square foot of production space. It's tight. We've got like a brew closet. So we're running on a 15-barrel brew house with 15-barrel and 30-barrel fermenters. A tank gets emptied, it gets cleaned, it gets refilled same day. Like there's no downtime on our equipment. Like the liquid is moving there through our system as efficiently as it can. And all the way through to the controls that we have on our packaging line. I mean, we're really, really proud of the QA, QC that we apply here and the quality of the product that we're making on a small scale system. And I think it's easy for your average craft beer consumer to disassociate with the challenge of brewing a consistent product like a Budweiser or a Coors or a PBR or something. Say what you will about the overall experience of that beer, whether you like it or you don't like it. The challenge of creating that consistent product on scale is really, really impressive. And so we're curious minds around here. We're students of the industry, and we like to think that we've developed a pretty good QC program for our brewery that takes the learnings of a whole industry and kind of applies it to our product.
So how often do you guys brew?
So we're probably brewing about 7 times a week. So that's usually a brew a day with a couple of doubles in the mix. We're not a full 24/7 shift brewery because we really we have a bottleneck with our fermentation space. So when you brew, you could brew around the clock. That's the process of creating your sugar water that can then be fermented into beer. Where we run out of room is we don't have anywhere else to put that sugar water. So we're just trying to turn our fermentation tanks as fast as we can to get the liquid that's ready to package out and then get new liquid in that's ready to ferment.
Because how long do your lagers normally take?
Yeah, so I may not answer that 100% on this because it depends on who you talk to, but we apply a lot of process. We apply a lot of good processes to be able to make our lagers efficiently in our space. I'll tell you, they take us about like 22 to 23 days. A lot of your breweries, you won't see them turn a lager in anything less than 40 days. That's the lagering process. Like lagering is that long, cold fermentation. We're just not operating in an environment or on a system that allows us to let a beer sit in a tank for, 40 or 45 days.
Fine.
It tastes better than fine. It tastes fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not bashful about that. That is that is a great product, and it really speaks to the talents of our team to be able to run a clean beer and a clean lager and turn it in 23 days versus 40 days.
How early did you have a lager on when you first opened, or have you always had one?
Yeah, we've always had one. So the first lager that we launched with, and it's still in our portfolio, it's called Trailbreak, and it's a German style lager. At the time when we opened, that was the lightest that we went, and it was a Helles light lager. We called it a Helles light lager. A couple of years into the business, we actually removed the Helles moniker from the name, and we just called it Trailbreak Lager, just to try to connect the brand with consumers a little bit more. It's a phenomenal beer compared to this classic Nocterra. A little bit grassier, little bit maltier. It's 5% ABV, whereas this one is 4.2%. So it's just a little bit more flavorful. But this classic Nocterra for us, this is a phenomenal product because we get somebody in here, maybe they're not a craft brewery person. They're here to hang out. They're here to be social and sit with their friends. We don't ever want somebody to approach our bar and say, hey, I really like Michelob Ultra. Do you have anything I'll like? Our bartenders are going to say, you're going to love classic Nocterra. I got something for you.
It's very...
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
The fact it's number one beer in America right now, I cringe.
Sure.
It's just, everyone has their own taste. It's just, I've had like your light lager. I've had other like bigger size that makes light lager. So like, this is what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah. And it's an approachable style and not everybody and that's where we've always felt strongly as proprietors of the Nocterra Brewing Company retail spaces. We're not trying to convert our customers necessarily that come into this space. We're offering a community environment that we want all kinds of consumers to come in here. And if you've never had craft beer before, but you just want to go check out Nocterra because you've heard it's fun and your friends are going, we want to make sure that we've got something on draft that you're going to like when you get here. And for a long time, that was Trailbreak for us. And we still have Trailbreak. It's up on our menu board right now. But what we hope that consumer who's maybe more of like your Bud Light, Budweiser, Coors Light, Michelob drinker, when they come into this space, maybe they start with classic and they're like, yeah, I like that. What else have you got? And then maybe we move them on to Trailbreak. We've got we got a few things for them to explore.
Do you still see that to this day on people that still trying craft? Even though, craft's been around since the 90s, but you still see people still.
Yeah, absolutely. We have first-time craft beer drinkers in here all the time. And it's very easy to get in the bubble of the industry that you exist in. And just because I'm so steeped in the craft beer industry, it doesn't mean that my second cousin has ever had anything other than,
Trust me, I have family members that way.
A Busch Light. And maybe in their mind, they're like, that's just not for me. I'm not interested in it. I like what I like, and I don't want to try anything else. And so there's nothing wrong with that, but we consistently get people that come in here and it's their first time ever being in a craft brewery. They're probably drug along with, a friend, son, daughter, mom, dad, whomever. And to see somebody's face light up when they go like, I really like that. Or it's not even I really like that. A lot of times it's like, I can drink that. And they're so shocked that we have something that fits their palate. I love that. Like, I just absolutely love it. And at its heart and soul, craft is meant to be a community, like unification. And if we're not paying attention to like all palates, we're just missing the mark.
You think that's part of our problem right now?
In the craft,
like, because sector? Just craft sector, because they're saying people are drinking less, and this and that, and
well, I think there's a lot of things going on in the market, and I won't try to get too deep into it. I think there's just a lot of things. We are in a mature market. there was a lot of room for breweries our size or a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller about 15 years ago because there was just this explosion, right? And then COVID hit and it made us all just like absolute alcoholics, like day in, day out, right? So everyone's consumption went up. So we're seeing a settling down where people are probably drinking more of a reasonable level, probably more similar to what they were drinking about 5 years ago, right? So you got a little shrinkage, a little contraction that's happening there. You also have some brands that maybe like scaled during 2019, 2020, 2021, scaled during that pandemic era. And maybe they got a little over their skis. Maybe they grew beyond what either their brand or their reach or their quality can really support long term. Maybe it just wasn't a sustainable amount of growth. So you're seeing some shrinkage there. In a mature market, you're going to see turnover. It's no different than restaurants, right? Restaurants open and close and turn over all the time. And I think that we're starting to see in the craft beer market a flow that kind of follows that. There's always going to be openings. There's always going to be closings. It's just, this is the first time, at least in Ohio, where we're starting to see closings that are outpacing openings. So we'll either see that momentum kind of slow down. Well, we probably will. And yeah, to your point, nationally,
I just think we just went on such an high.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you guys opened like 2016, 2017, it was like we just were on an extremely high pace, and then once some people start hearing closings, like, oh, the world's falling.
Yeah, and there's a number of things too. Like craft beer became an opportunity to travel. Like beer tourism is a thing. And so people are like, well, I want to go here and I want to check out a brewery. Or what am I going to do with my weekend? I know I'll go to Powell, or I'll go to Pataskala, or I'll go to Plain City, or I'll go into Indiana or Michigan or something. And I'll build a whole weekend around exploring some craft breweries, and then I'll see some sites while I'm out and about, right? We're having a little bit of contraction in economy, where even though alcohol is still an affordable luxury, and here's where I'll take it back to the quality conversation that we always have around Nocterra. People are being more careful with how they spend their money. Craft beer has not always meant quality product. And a lot of consumers are fatigued on spending $20 for a 4-pack that might be oxidized, might be infected. At the end of the day, it might just not be that good of an experience for the consumer. And so I think that you see a lot of that growth, like in the craft brewery sector, where maybe brands are putting product out to market that's not shelf stable. And maybe it was awesome when it came off their packaging line, but they haven't invested in the long-term view of that product. It's not shelf stable. Or maybe it goes to a bottle shop and it sits on a shelf for like 9 months and then it just kind of dies. And then by the time your consumer gets a hold of it, they spend $20. They're like, why? And so I think that there's some settling in the market overall of just consumers are looking for consistent quality. They're looking for money well spent. They still want craft, but they also want some confidence that it's going to be a good experience. If they buy that 6-pack, buy that 12-pack, it's something they want to drink when they get it home. And you're seeing a big fall off on some of like the really experimental styles of beer, just where maybe consumers are a little fatigued with the exploration. They don't have the funny money to invest in that.
So let's get into the Dunkel.
Yeah, sorry, I got a little heavy there.
I absolutely love it. But
Yeah.
I love Dunkels. That's definitely a version of beer that just has grown on me through the years.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's like,
okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about this Dunkel. This beer breaks all of our naming conventions. Most of our beers have something to do with like the outdoors. This is called the Dan. It's named after my next door neighbor. His name is Dan Triplett. He's a retired engineer from Honda. And we've been neighbors for about 15 years now. And when he learned that we were home brewing and planning a brewery, he's like, well, have you ever had a Munich Dunkel? And at the time, we'd never made one. I don't even know if we had ever had one. And he described it to us. We looked up a recipe. We brewed one at home. And he was like, that's a Munich Dunkel. And we just loved the style. We put it in our opening lineup. When we opened in 2019, this was on our first draft list. And this is also in the lager family. And so even though it's a dark beer, it's fermented with a lager yeast. This is going to be more like a soft pretzel breadcrumby, as opposed to like chocolate notes that you like coffee chocolate that you get in a stout or a porter. So this is what we call like a drinkable dark beer. It's a little bit darker than an amber. It's a little bit lighter than a porter or a stout. Clocks in at 5%. You can drink this guy year round. This is your patio dark beer. It's just really clean, really crisp. We are so proud of this beer.
Dude, that back end is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a little bit of sweetness in the middle. You get that like kind of toasty, soft pretzely, like bread crust sort of flavor on the end, and then it's just super crisp, like really dries up at the end. It's awesome.
Because I know you said year round, but this is definitely like October.
Oh, for sure.
Beer.
I mean, the way that it is today, it's a little overcast. It's a little dreary outside. Give me a couple of these, I'm set, you know. But yeah, this one does well for us. We do a lot of versions of this beer throughout the year. We do a holiday Dan. We do an Irish Dan, which is our St. Patrick's Day, where we put Irish cream in this beer. We've joked around about all kinds of iterations of this beer, and my neighbor, his head just keeps getting bigger. He's a celebrity.
Is that his number one beer when he comes in?
Oh yeah, he lets us know as soon as if he ever happens to hit our tap room and the Dan is not on draft, we hear about it instantly. But yeah. Awesome neighbor, for starters. Fantastic neighbor. He mows our lawn. It's great. And then just a really, really good beer. So, yeah, we're super proud of this one. This one we have on draft in Schottenstein Arena. We do a holiday version of this beer. Originally, we developed it for the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. This is the first year where we're going to be rolling out in distribution to like some of our grocery store partners. And so good as a standalone, but it's also a great base for some of the seasonals that we work into it.
So you mentioned you have stuff in the zoo. What
we do? They're a phenomenal partner. We've worked with the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium for the last 5.5 years. We partner with some of the nonprofits that are affiliated with the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. One of them is called AZK, American Zookeepers Association. We partner on fundraisers with those guys. We take our flagship beer, Beta Flash, and actually at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium, we have a version of that label. Instead of being our moth logo, we converted it actually to look like an elephant head. And so, they're really fantastic neighbors. They've got a great mission. We love being a small part of the total customer experience that they offer down the road.
You could also drink this at the water park too. I could see that too.
Yeah. So the Dan, I don't believe the Dan usually makes it over to the water park, but we send one of our non-beer products, which is a pink lemonade hard seltzer.
Oh, nice.
And we send that over to the water park. It's bright pink. It's made with real lemon and cranberry puree. It's a gorgeous product, and it's light, easy drinking. And when you get a yard full of like this bright pink drink that happens to be a hard seltzer, it's a great product.
And recently you guys opened a narrow location. Tell me how that got started. And
yeah, our downtown or our Audubon location.
Yes.
Yeah. So we opened the Seattle Audubon in let's see, our official opening date, I believe might have been July 1st, 2024. It's all a little bit of a blur at this point in time. We started planning around that location during the pandemic. So I think in 2021, if I go back in my paper trails, those are the first back and forths that we had about opening that location. And we were approached by some friends in Columbus. They own a family of climbing gyms. The organization is called Five Life. They own a gym called Vertical Adventures, one called Block Garden, which is our neighbor in the Audubon Park, and one called Chambers in Grandview. They have another gym that's in the Pennsylvania area that our Columbus market isn't familiar with. But yeah, they've just really developed a great product, a great family of climbing gyms, and it's an experience that we started exploring with our boys and just got to know the ownership group over the years. And they were looking to expand their Block Garden gym and add some more square footage to it. And there was an adjacent retail space, and we talked to them about it. And some of the space is now climbing gym, and then the other space is Nocterra Audubon. So one of the things that differentiates that experience for us is that we actually do run a full kitchen in that space. We've got a really talented chef on staff, and he's developed the menu and runs the food side of the experience. We run a really solid private event business down there. At any given time, we could have north of 300 people in the building. We're in the Scioto Audubon Metro Park. We're right on the Olentangy bike path. Well, actually, at that point in time, I think it's called the Scioto Green Mile Trail, but it all connects. There's a kayak launch in the park. I mean, there's volleyball pits. It just, the environment of this Scioto Audubon space fits our Beer Plus Outside brand so well. And so, yeah, we opened there in 2024. We're just a little bit more than a year old, and it's just a great extension of what we've built here in Powell, and it gives some of our downtown clientele and our downtown fans a way to connect with our brand that's maybe a little easier to access than driving up north to get to our home base.
Have you ever thought about putting some tanks down there? Or?
So in that space, we actually do barrel aging.
Oh,
so
nice.
As we've grown here at Powell, we had to kind of shrink the amount of liquid that we were putting in barrels. That's kind of like the fun, rewarding, like hobby part of the business for us. It's a great place to play and a great place to experiment, but that's not where you're really going to, that's not how you're going to keep the lights on and pay your employees. And so when we opened our Audubon location, one of the requirements for us to open any sort of a retail location is that we actually have to have some sort of active fermentation or manufacturing on premise. And with the space that we have in that Audubon site, it's a 5,000 square foot facility. It was just the perfect opportunity for us to start building back our barrel aged program. So we have some fun stuff that went in there last year when we opened that we're probably just getting close to starting to crack into and package some of those initial barrel aged products. To put tanks in a space like that, the efficiency and the expense and the effort to actually do like a duplicate brew house or brew system, we didn't feel was the right move for that space. But it's such a great environment to rehome some of our barrel aging. So we're really looking forward to our customers that have been coming in there have seen the barrels sitting in there now for a year. So we're really looking forward to connecting them with the liquid that's actually inside of there.
I mean, when this comes out, we'll be near Black Friday. Do you guys normally do anything big for Black Friday? Like,
yeah, we do. So we have a mug club that we do here. It's called the Order of the Moth. And Black Friday is the date every year that if any of our memberships are not renewed, we release those to the public. And so we're going to start promoting that here shortly. It'll go through our socials, but we have a very core crew of individuals. A lot of them have been in our club for 5-6 years. And they get first dibs to renew their membership. Anybody that decides to opt out of the program, they're not utilizing it, whatever. We release those memberships on Black Friday and give people a chance to snag them if they want. It's just a fun social project for us. And we have a couple of key touch points throughout the year. And, they get some tap room discounts when they come in.
You mentioned you barrel age, but over there, I could also imagine have you guys ever thought about getting like a couple of fooders and experimenting with that?
Yeah, so fooders are a little bit bigger than like the square footage we want to allocate to it in that space, but we do have a couple of the larger, and you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm not remember exactly right now. We've got some whiskey barrel, we've got some bourbon barrels, some gin barrels, some wine barrels, and then we have a couple of larger barrels that I'm blanking on the name of. They're not as big as a fooder, but they're kind of like that in between, like that next step up.
Okay.
So we've got some fun stuff that's developing down there, and our team is just babysitting it. We want to make sure that when we release it, we're releasing it at the right time when the product is ready. And so, yeah, it'll be fun to connect. Again, it'll just be fun to connect our audience with the liquid inside of those barrels because they've been staring at them for the last year.
That's the thing about barrels. You just can't rush them at all.
Mm-mm. No, and the industry has ebbed and flowed so much. Over 10 years ago, when we started concepting this brewery, the passion project for both myself, my husband, and then our partner Bruce, we were all hardcore barrel-aged sour consumers. It was such a creative, complex product. Like, it just really hit a sweet spot for us. And when we originally started concepting Nocterra, we had built this business concept all around like barrel-aged sours. That's still a category that we're very, very passionate about. But it's a really limiting category of product. You got to have your IPAs, you got to have your lagers, you got to have your easy drinkers, because at the end of the day, what we do, it's for our community, it's for our consumers. And so it's fun for us to introduce these little splashes of, hey, try this. You might not like it, but it's so different than what you usually drink. It's so complex. It's so this, that, or the other. It's really fun to introduce those, but that's not going to sustain the business as a whole, the way that we've built it.
All right.
Last one?
Yes.
Yeah. So this one I just threw in there. This is a seasonal for us, and just kind of going through the whole lineup. We've gone from a hazy to a West Coast to a light lager to a Munich Dunkel. So rounding it out with a s'mores stout. This is called a bear bag. A bear bag is when you are hiking or backpacking or camping out in the wilderness. If you're in an area where there are bears around, all your food goes into a sack and you rig it up in a tree overnight so that your food stays intact and the scent does not attract bears into your camp. And so this is a autumn, winter, darker, adjunct heavy stout. It's got a little bit of marshmallow, it's got some vanilla, it's got some chocolate into it. This is just so like good. A dessert in a glass. Yeah. And I'm sure it was good at the beginning, but one thing I love about stouts is letting them warm up just a hair, because sometimes there's some flavors you might not get at first, and warmer gets some of the other. Oh yeah, as we've been working through our flight here, we're hitting this at just the right temperature, and you're getting a lot of that vanilla and some of that sweetness from the marshmallow and other stuff. And we lean so heavily into our core lineup, and that's what you're going to see from Nocterra out on retail spaces. When you pick one of our 6-packs up off of the shelf, you're getting some of the best product that we make. It's going to be our IPAs, it's going to be our lagers, but you come into our tap rooms, and this is where you come to experience all the other beer that we make. I mean, I know that your guests can't see this right now, but we're looking at our draft list. We have a hibiscus saison. We have a Czech Pilsner, we have our pumpkin ale, we have a Hefeweizen, we have our, raspberry, blackberry sour. It's part of our Swell line series. And it's really fun for us to keep our taproom experience different and an exploration. And we push our core in the market. But when you come to Nocterra, you either come to our Powell location or our Scioto Audubon location. That's where you're going to get some of the experimental styles and some of the playfulness. That is what really makes craft beer fun.
Mm. So how did you get the name Nocterra? Probably should start with that, but that's fine.
No, that's all good. So Nocterra, when we started home brewing, and then we actually took that home brewing passion and we started working towards a business plan. All of those activities for us took place at night. our kids, and our partner Bruce and his wife Helen, their kids are the same age as ours are. They're teenagers, but at the time they were 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. And so, you do your duty during the day, you work your job, you take care of the kids, get everybody down to bed. And then at night we'd sit down with spreadsheets, or we'd go in the garage while, we were home brewing, or Brian and Bruce were getting together and brewing. And just this like nighttime nocturnal theme really infiltrated the whole process for us. And so there's a phrase, it's called a nocturnum, which in Latin means a celebration at night. Originally, we were going to call our brewery Nocturnum. There is a European import beer. It's called Delirium Nocturnum. And right before we got really serious about our launching a business plan and finding some investment funding, they trademarked every name that was affiliated as one of their brands. So Nocturnum got trademarked in the craft beer area. We couldn't use it anymore. But we really liked this whole idea of this like kind of like nocturnal celebration, or this nocturnal party that had built around it. And so we made up Nocterra. It's a made up word. Noc for nocturnal, terra for the earth. Yeah. So it does feel authentic. It feels real to us, having such a background in the outdoors and in nature. So this night earth name. And then it was also really important to us to develop an iconic logo to go along with it. So we were launching a made up word into the market. And we just understood at that point in time, number one, most people aren't going to pronounce it the right way. We get a lot of Nocterra, nocturnal, nocturna. We're like, okay, so it's a made up word. Until this becomes part of the lexicon of the Columbus craft beer market, we need to give our customers something to attach to that's not just the name itself. And so we wanted this really standout, eye-catching logo that was not confused with anything else. We were looking for an animal because at the time we were looking at alcohol studies that showed that animals on alcohol products sold better. Like think about kangaroo wine or some of these other things. And there's this process in making beer. It's called pitching the bugs. It's when you actually introduce the yeast into the liquid, you're pitching the bugs, the live cultures into the beer that makes the magic happen. And so nocturnal bug, you get a moth. Our moth is oftentimes confused for a butterfly, which is totally fine with us because as part of this brand launch that we were doing, we didn't want to alienate our female audience. Craft breweries, I think, have come a long way in the last 10 years, but at the time, keep in mind, we were developing this concept in 2015, 2016. We didn't want to exclude our female craft beer fans, and a lot of breweries have a reputation for not feeling super inclusive or feeling like a space that women like to go to. And so we kind of took an opposite approach, and we thought, hey, if the women want to come here and drink, they're going to bring their respective partners to Nocterra. Guys will drink anywhere. So let's build a space that everybody feels comfortable, and your name and your logo feeds so much of the energy of your brand. So yeah.
And we're back after a small little break here. We got 2 new beers. I'm still drinking on the stout. That's
the s'more
awesome.
stout. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
this is going to be a sharp 180 from the s'more stout.
Yeah.
But
I should probably ask for an air lager to cleanse it a little bit, but it's all right.
But we do the whole gamut of styles around here. And again, like I was saying, variety is what really differentiates the taproom experience for most of your breweries. That's where you're going to come for the experimental stuff, the one-off styles, the seasonals. Like, we're all trying to put our best foot forward out in the market, and then you get into the taproom and you're going to get those same core beers, but you're also going to get to play around with some of the concepts that we're working on.
Which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the sour. I mean, okay. Might as well. So, yep, that's going to be the darker one there. So now I did say play around with. This has actually been a core brand for us since the day we opened. We make a series of kettle sours. For us, they're called our Swell Line series. It's named after the ocean swell that comes in with a high tide. And we have a variety of them. It starts with the same sour golden base, and then we fruit them with different profiles. So this one is a raspberry blackberry, We have a strawberry pink guava. We have a mango passion fruit one. We have one coming out here in a couple of weeks. We call it a Sheboygan swell line. It's named after the Sheboygan coast of Lake Michigan. And it's going to be, cranberry, orange, some of these more like fall flavors. But the goal for us is a similar experience for our customers. So we want to keep the tartness and the acidity and just the overall experience of this beer the same, where the fruit profile changes. So this is a blonde kettle sour. Cheers. Fruited with raspberry and blackberry. Usually when you're coming off of another beer, it is a sweet tart. We usually recommend that you do 2 sips. That first sip, especially coming off of something so sweet as that stout, that first sip is going to shock your palate just a little bit. And then that second sip, you're going to feel the fruits kind of open up a little bit. But
that's good.
It's good. This is actually a beer that a lot of beer drinkers or non-beer drinkers gravitate towards, unless you're really sensitive to like that kind of grain-based flavor. My mom, who swore up and down for years that she didn't like beer at all, any beer. She loves our sours. They're just such a different product and such a different experience. And we try to keep that total acidity in a range that it's not blasting anybody's palate out of the water. It's a very approachable fruited sour.
No, it's very approachable, drinkable. I love the fruit notes.
Yeah, I mean it.
So did you guys start making these right away
We did.
As a home brewer?
We did, yeah, and it kind of goes back to some of the passion and the hobby aspect of craft brewing for us. We really love barrel-aged sours. Like the beer that convinced us that we wanted to open a craft brewery was Oro de Calabaza. It's brewed by Jolly Pumpkin in northern Michigan. And the first time that I had that barrel-aged golden sour, I hadn't had anything like it before. And it just, for me, it hit my palate on all the right notes. And I was like, whoa, what is this? Where can I get more of it? And barrel-aged sours in 2011, like they weren't easy to find in the market. But it's what really sparked our curiosity and our interest in home brewing. And again, my partner, my husband Brian here, and our partner Bruce, we're heavily invested in learning how to brew barrel-aged sour beers from home. Like we have some bottles in our basement that were brewed by the two of those guys in 2012, 2013. That were some first gen like barrel-aged products that we break out from time to time. And so when we opened, having a sour or a fruited sour in our lineup was important to us. A kettle sour is a much quicker turn product to make. It's very easy to control the total. Well, I say it's very easy to control. I'm not the one controlling it. Our team has developed the processes to control the total acidity, the pH, everything to dial in and make sure that we're giving our customers a consistent experience. And if they like something like this delicious, tart, fruity drink that almost falls more into like a cocktail category, if you ask me, if they like something like this, then when they have the opportunity to taste some of these barrel-aged experiments that we do, it's kind of a gateway for them. It's like, these are like your sour beer training wheels that if you like this experience, maybe you want to try the barrel-aged products.
Yeah. Because I always found Columbus has had a very good sour base, starting with rest in peace, Pretentious, one of my...
Oh, yeah. They make phenomenal products,
like
yeah.
that. So you guys have had a pretty good sour following, I feel like, in Columbus.
Yeah, and that person that likes a sour ale, whether it's a kettle sour or barrel-aged sour, they're very loyal customers. They're not the majority of your customers, but they're very loyal, and it's a product that we care deeply about. And so we like to make sure that we always have something on draft in here. Currently, we have our California Swell line, which is raspberry blackberry. We've got a different fruited version of this one coming out in a handful of weeks that'll be more seasonal. It's going to be, cranberry and orange and pomegranate and some of those fall flavors. And then we also play around, like we have a hibiscus saison on right now that's just like light and fruity and almost like a lemonade tasting sort of thing. And so, yeah, we really like to play around with that category. And again, that's the value of coming to a tap room. Like, that's why it's so fun and so important to come to a tap room if you like craft beers, because, we're not going to put our hibiscus saison on the shelves of Kroger. That's what you come to Nocterra for. You come to be a part of the experimentation.
So how do you guys judge what's, okay, this would do out in the public and what will not? Is it easy to judge it, or sometimes are you like, oh, this did better than I thought?
I think that we have our core products that we stand behind that are pretty easy to plan around. And you're going to lean into your high performing categories. I think somebody who's really broke the mold in the Columbus market, honestly, is Wolf's Ridge with their Clear Sky Daybreak. Like, if Nocterra tried to introduce like a blonde ale with coffee into the market, we couldn't push that product, but for them, it is such a volume driver and it's a really great brand. Like, I think that they've really cracked the code in putting something out that is different than what the competitors in the Columbus market are putting out. For us, it's our IPAs that are driving us. And then, like the light lager category, we've got one on the shelves out there. If you're a Nocterra fan and you want to drink our light lager, we've got something for you. We're not going toe to toe. We're not competing with the likes of, Garage Beer or your domestic brands. But yeah, I mean, we follow data, we follow sell through. We leave ourselves open to be surprised by high performers like the Dan, this Munich Dunkel that we talked about. That's a high performer for us in the market. And it just, in our market, it kind of hits a niche. Like, there weren't a lot of other breweries brewing a consistent, either, like amber or Dunkel. I mean, until like Gamut has a beautiful Dunkel, but they're not pushing as much volume into the market as we are. And so you do have to track your heavy sellers, but you also have to look for opportunities. And some of the opportunities for us are our seasonals, and they're here and gone, and we try to plan around those volumes appropriately. And it's really easy to get tempted when you see high sell-through of a seasonal beer and think maybe we should extend this season. You shouldn't. You should keep the interest there, keep the drive there, so that when customers see it on the shelf, they're going to buy it. They don't become accustomed to the fact that you have it on the shelves all the time. We have a lot of requests to run our Mexican lager all year long. I guarantee you, if we ran that product year round, we'd see heavy drop off on the sales. Our Fest beer is the same thing. They're like, oh, I love Oktoberfest. It's my favorite beer that you guys make. We're like, well, then you've got a month and a half where you can get it, and we hope you stock up then. So it's a complex equation, but we track a lot of market data. We put our volume behind our strong performers, and we leave opportunities to experiment in the market, but they're calculated risks. Whereas in your tap room, you can be a little more playful.
And this is going to be this next one's a first for my show.
Okay.
Let's talk about your seltzer.
Yes. So
I think we talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I may have mentioned it. So this is a pink lemonade hard seltzer made with real fruit. When we first opened, we only had what's called an A1C license, which is your manufacturer's license. That limited us to selling product in our tap rooms that we produced on premise. Because we're a brewery, we can only create products that are more than 50% derived from grain-based sugars. So seltzers can be made from agave base, sucrose base. They could be a vodka base that gets blended, and then it's called a seltzer. What we can actually produce on site, we use dextrose, which is corn sugar. So it fulfills the grain-based derivative that we need to be an A1C manufacturer. We have since added our A1A license, which allows us to buy things like wine and cider and stuff to provide that option for our customers in the tap room. But at the time when we developed the seltzer brand, it was because we didn't have our A1A license, and we wanted to provide a product to our consumers that was different than beer. we constantly had people coming in, do you have anything other than beer? And we got really burned out on saying, no, we don't. So we developed a seltzer. Ours is made with real fruit. There's real lemon puree. The pink color comes from cranberry. It was all a shock to all of us 90s kids that pink lemonade didn't come from pink lemons. There's no such thing as pink lemons. And it wasn't until we developed our own product that we're like, cranberry is the coloration. But this is a 5%. It's super fizzy. It's super drinkable. The hack on this is you take one of these home, you put a shot of vodka on it, and then you've got a ready-made cocktail and you're at home.
Yeah.
Fruity,
crisp,
light.
Probably one of the best seltzers I've had in a while.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, the process.
Well, a lot of seltzers just taste like sizz water, and it's just.
Well, a lot of them have that Fred Flintstone vitamin flavor to them. Have you ever picked up on that?
Yeah. Just.
So today in our back of house, it's actually seltzer day. It's our production team's least favorite day because it's a very labor intensive product for us to make. We run all of our seltzer base through a lenticular filter. It looks like a giant rocket ship, but it runs through these filter segments, and that is going to peel out. It's going to remove a lot of that kind of like minerally, like vitamin-y taste. That's some of the raw flavor that you get from the fermentation of dextrose. And so we filter that part of it out. We end up with this really clean, neutral spirit base that we then add fruit and blend to a 5% ABV. And it's a truly delicious product. And in the seltzer category, the standout for us is like, it's got real fruit in it. Real fruit. Like your High Noons, your White Claws, those are all fruit flavorings. They're all compounds that get introduced to a grain neutral spirit. And so, for us, this is a craft seltzer. We feel really good about it. And this is your Zumbizi Bay float around the adult.
I could do that.
Yeah, float around the 21 plus cocktail lounge and sip on a little bit of this.
Mm-hmm. So, what are some things that maybe we have not talked about that people should know about Nocterra?
Oh, geez, that's such a broad question. I think maybe what people don't know about us is that we're a really small team. We are independently owned. I think that we've invested into, branding and design and stuff that makes our product kind of stand out. We have people come into our tap room sometimes and say, "Oh, I thought you were just a marketing company." I was surprised to learn that you guys are actually, an authentic craft brewery. And, authenticity is something that's really important to us around here. Sometimes we talk about punching above our weight. We look like a bigger organization than we are. We're a pretty small team, doing small business things here in Powell, and are just really excited to be a part of the Columbus community. And it's a fun, stressful, exciting, rewarding space to occupy, to be one of these community spaces in our market, and that's what drives us.
And what's the most proud moment you've had so far since opening?
My oldest son worked on our packaging line this summer, and I think seeing him come in here and I don't know, we've had so many. This is a family affair for us. Like, we have friends, we have family that follow us, are invested in us, have helped us along this journey. That first time you see your product on a grocery store shelf is such a flooring moment. The partnerships, this Take a Hike partnership that we're a part of, I would have never conceptualized that when we opened 9 years ago. There's too many to rattle off. I can't even come close to defining a singular moment. Having our kids involved, having our family involved, seeing the impact it's had on the community. I know at least 6 people that have our moth tattooed on their body. And to me, that's just like a wow moment. And, you can get bogged down in the day-to-day, the administrative side, the paperwork side, trying to make it all work, trying to keep the lights on, trying to do all this stuff. And then you step back for a minute and you see how much the thing that you made impacts other people's lives, whether it's a gathering place or it's where they had their first date or they got engaged or it's their weekly get together. I don't know. It's just all pretty incredible.
And what's next for Nocterra? What do you vision?
Yeah. I mean, next for us is, we have just started dipping our toe in the water in the Dayton and Cleveland markets. And so we are looking to take some of this retail footprint and expand it to outside markets, kind of test our mettle in some towns that we're not a part of, that we don't have a home base in, and let the product speak for itself. I'm super, super excited about the Dayton market because myself and my husband are from Dayton. It's where we grew up. It's where we met. It's where we graduated from high school. And I'm really excited to go to my first Dayton Kroger and pull a 6-pack of Nocterra off the shelf and just buy it. It's going to be such a cool moment.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Nocterra tap room in Dayton.
I don't think we're having that conversation yet, and I'm not saying that we won't someday, but just getting our 6-packs on the shelf, getting some draft accounts, getting the word out, getting a little bit of spread. We would like to be a legacy Columbus brand that has a little bit of reach beyond our territory. So when you connect with those audience members, you connect with those people from adjacent markets, when they find themselves in Columbus, maybe they'll pop into one of our tap rooms, have a pint, introduce themselves, have some food if they're at our Audubon location. We're just looking forward to seeing how we stack up in some outside territories.
And one thing we haven't mentioned on it, I'm grateful you've come on today, but she will also be part of my awesome Columbus panel I put together for the Columbus area in November. And I'm excited for you to be on there. I'm so happy you invited me here. And
yeah, absolutely.
I've enjoyed talking with you, and I hope to have you back on sometime in the future.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm looking forward to the follow-up and getting together with some of our friends in the industry and having a roundtable discussion. So thank you, Blake.
Yeah, no, thank you. Cheers. Your beers are awesome.
Thanks.